before I came to the festival, my approach was always incrementalism. I thought that, you couldn't convince people all at once. I thought, you had to first convert them to libertarianism, then minarchism, then anarchy. But after hearing Cal speak and also Adam Kokesh, I think they made a very good case for just going for it, just promoting the core principles of anarchy and just like common sense things that people are likely to agree with in like a non inflammatory like way of saying it. And I think they changed my mind. I think I'm going to take a more direct approach from now on. So yeah, I'm glad I listened to their talk and really thought about it, because it just changed my whole perspective on like how to evangelize, really. So
best strategy, working on yourself, liberating your mind, liberating the challenges that unfold before you, and not let the curveballs hit you and knock you down. Be able to catch those and throw it right back. It's achieving that economically, financially, your well-being, mentally. You can't liberate your community if you don't work on yourself first. And I would say that's the best way to go about it. Anything after that is an added experience and enriches the community that you start to grow there. And so that from there inwards and then outwards, it's not just the external forces, it's also the internal forces. And I would say they're just as important, but yeah, knowing thyself would be the best way to go about it.
Well, pragmatically, I think the best strategy for restoring liberty is through agorism right now. And other than that, I think it's already happening. I think this festival and this podcast is really proof of that.
Increase the state. Seriously. I mean, we've talked about this before. How did you become a libertarian, anarchist, voluntarist, abolitionist, whatever you want to call yourself? Is it because, the wrong people just happen to be in charge at this present time? One of Ben Stone's analogies is liberty is like oxygen. When you can breathe just fine, you don't think nothing of it. You don't even think about oxygen. When was the last time you said, wow, I am so happy that there's so much oxygen in the air out there? It's when you can't breathe. It's when you have that lack of liberty due to the increase in tyranny that you realize that you have the need for liberty. So it's actually the increase in tyranny that has fueled the demand for liberty. Just like the pendulum of the two-party system. People get sick and tired of the Republican screwing them and kicking them in the nuts, and they say, well, I'm going to vote for the Democrat to screw me and kick me in the nuts. And after 4 or 8 years of that, or maybe even 12, they say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of getting kicked in the nuts by the Democrat. I want the Republican to kick me in the nuts again. And eventually, after being kicked in the nuts so many times, people finally say, you know what? What if there was a possibility of not getting kicked in the nuts? And where mini-statism justifies this, justifies a political action and says, well, would you rather get whipped by the slave master 10 times or 20 times? Well, of course, 10 would be better, but it shouldn't be a goal. And for the mini-statist, 10 times is the goal. Yeah. But they never provide that option of why not escape the plantation. And as Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves.
Well, Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
definitely.
Or even Frederick Douglass, because these people say, well, we just have to vote for the right people to restore liberty. No, you don't get liberty by voting. You don't get liberty by other people doing it. And what Frederick Douglass said was, I prayed for 20 years for freedom, and my prayers went unanswered until I prayed with my own 2 feet. And he was an escaped slave.
The best strategy for restoring liberty? Yeah, I think that, as we were talking on the show, agorism. I mean, my personal strategy is multi-pronged. I believe in educating ourselves as much as possible about these ideas, the history of these ideas, those who've gone before us who've tried to implement these ideas and what has worked for them and what has not worked for them. Also educating and spreading others, propagating this message. We have to we have to market the idea of freedom and liberty and anarchy if we truly believe in it. That's how I feel, as well as you have to tell people how this idea, this new thing you've discovered is empowering you and helping you live a better life, so that more people will join you and come learn about it. So educating ourselves, educating others, propagating that message. And if you believe in voting, if you believe in working within that system, I personally don't, and I challenge you to, if you're going to vote, if you're going to expend energy, focus locally. And even with that, what I would say is keep track of what it is, your engagement, your time, your energy, your money, all that into politics, whether on the big level or on the local level. And at the same time, engage in building community gardens, engage in helping support alternative currencies, or creating barter networks, or just going and supporting in independent vendors around your city who operate without licenses, who just help people directly, do your business directly, cut out the middleman, cut out the state where possible, practice that counter economic agorist activity. And at the end of the day, the end of the week, the year, whatever, look and see how much time, energy, and money you've spent in each area, and what is bringing you more immediate impact in your life. And I think that ultimately you'll find that removing ourselves from the political system and stop giving them our moral support and legitimizing them through our vote and through our time and energy, and investing in our communities directly, we're going to start seeing, and I have personally seen already, just amazing growth in my own life and in the community around me. And I think it's something that's happening all around. It's just going to take each of us as individuals deciding to take action in our own lives and our own communities, and then those communities continue to grow and get larger and stronger. And that's going to happen everywhere, and sooner or later we'll be able to actually start linking up and doing bigger things, spreading these ideas and creating new systems that are based on freedom and liberty.
Personally, I think culture change. From what I've seen, that is the only way at this point to really dismantle the state is from the bottom up. Get people to stop believing in it. Get people to see the state as an evil, not as a necessary evil, but as an evil, as a joke. And I think that comes through people beginning to see what government really is on display, and beginning to get comfortable seeing critiques of government or lampooning of government in every medium possible. And I'd say that, as I always have, whatever your talents are, if it's crocheting, playing guitar, soccer, building houses, painting, anything, any talent you have, find a way to introduce liberty in it. If you could show people how to fix a car, and you can do that on a YouTube video, and you can put at the bottom, I also like to, go to Macy's.org, or this is my favorite book, and, libertarian book. Whatever it is, inject the discourse of liberty into any cultural medium you have and start spreading it, because that's the only way it's going to change, is if every single avenue of culture begins to have a libertarian theme injected into it that becomes an accepted norm. It's a slow creep.
Wow, I don't know. I'll let you know when I figure out. I suppose start with yourself. There a lot of libertarians focus on things that are far outside of their locus of control, and they like to sort of get on their microphones and scream about war and the Federal Reserve and the income tax and things like that. But there's a lot of things in your personal life now that are infringements on your freedom, and those hurdles are both manageable and empowering. And so the more of those you get out of your life, the more effective you'll be on the bigger fish.
Well, so I do want to say this, is that I think that this is something I've been kind of thinking about recently, is building a community. I think that's the main thing that I like to push, is that I think that there's an awesome community with libertarians that, you're doing this show with Liberty Under Attack. I'm doing my show with Anarcho-Yackles. I'm working with the Feed 'em Fiends. Everybody is really kind of tied in. I think that's really amazing. I think that's really what you want to shoot for, is having these relationships, these positive relationships with the people around you, and especially the people that agree with you on things. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate everybody that's working to promote this cause. And I guess that's it.
Oh, get free in your own life. Work towards freedom, and then find your friends and make an intentional community somewhere, and try to get left alone however you can. just so, yeah, work on first build freedom in your own life, then find some people who are on the same page with you, and then go live together and try to get left alone as much as you possibly can. That's my strategy anyway.
The best strategy for restoring liberty, well, it sure as hell ain't reformism, right? Let's make all sorts of concessions and compromises with the state, right? I think that's kind of borne out to what it has been, as I've written about at length, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, it really depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to, say, restore the republic, then I would say the best strategy would be the plan for the restoration of constitutional government. If, however, on the other hand, you want to abolish the state, then the best strategy for that would be agorism, without question. And I've studied both strategies, and they pursue quite different ends, although they do both claim to restore liberty. So again, it just depends not so much on the strategy per se, but really more in your philosophical conviction. So just to say it one more time, if your philosophical conviction is limited government, it would be the strategy is plan for the restoration of constitutional government. And if your goal is abolishing the state, then the strategy is agorism.
I would say the best strategy for restoring liberty would have to be, creating an environment where people actually love themselves. Yeah, indeed. I think that's it.
I keep my magic in my